Hey guys, Jesse from Fulla Strength and Conditioning here with another episode of the From Average to Awesome podcast. So this is episode number 8, and I'm very lucky once again. I have a special guest coming online with me. His name is Christian Woodford. He's the owner at Woodford Sports Science Consulting over in Melbourne. So I'm hoping as well, guys, that the audio for this podcast will be a little bit better than the last one. I've went out and invested in a microphone headset, so I'm hoping the audio will be a bit crisper and clearer for you listening in. So I'm going to give Christian a quick bell, and we're going to get straight into it, guys. Here we go. Christian, hello. Welcome, mate. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come on the air for a podcast with me, buddy.
That's okay. I'm just actually at my parents' now because I couldn't do it at work because we've got too slow internet, and I've just my new apartment doesn't have internet yet, so I'm stuck on the couch here. So I'm sorry if my dogs just come up and jump up near me, or my mum starts talking. I'll tell her just to try and keep it down as much as possible. So thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
No worries, bud. So just a bit of a background for the listeners out there. Christian and I connected, as most people have, through Facebook. So it's been about 12 months that I've been sort of a little bit over that I've been following your stuff. And obviously you came to Perth recently doing one of your workshops. So a little bit of a background on that and sort of how we connected. Christian, give us a bit of a background on sort of your own health and fitness journey, and what do you do for a job, mate?
So, I mean, just for my background and my area of interest is athletic development. It's kind of started moving into more rehab as well, because I develop rehab a lot of athletes with ACLs, hamstring injuries. So I'm starting to really get involved in the return to play, the successful return to perform stuff. But really my background is performance coaching. That's what I'm really known for, developing athletes to make them bigger, stronger, faster, and more efficient. That's been my passion for the last 10 years. I mean, I started uni nearly 10 years ago, undergrad exercise science, honours in neuroscience. I was lucky enough to work at a lot of sub-elite and elite organisations. I won't go into all of them because it would just take too long, and who I've learned under. And that's just mainly my passion. So it's not really, I mean, obviously using the same fundamental sports science principles into a practical sense for body composition change. When I say body composition, I'm meaning fat loss and muscle gain. But for my area is more developing strength, power, speed, agility, work capacity, mobility, and injury prevention within the athlete, so they can improve the athlete performance and minimise chance of injury. So that's kind of my area of interest for all the listeners out there.
Fantastic. So what first got you into the world of health and fitness and sort of more or less into athlete development? Was it for your own sort of personal improvements, or was it mainly just to help others?
Well, I've always played sports. So for everyone who listens out there, I just played sports since I was five or six. Yeah. I started football and cricket, and I was one of those guys who played football and cricket all the way up until I started Woodford. And I was just always involved in health and fitness. I just always loved it. I remember my sister, when I was 16 in year 10, we had a careers expo, and she brought home this. It was AAF. It was like a post and saying, "Do you love exercise? Do you love sport? We'll combine them together." Yeah. And then you can become a personal trainer. And I was like obsessed ever since. I remember my journey started when I first started lifting when I was 14. Now, not the right type of lifting, but I used to go. My first gym I ever signed up to was 13. I remember that clearly, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was doing a traditional bro split, high volume, just had no idea. Kind of went from exercise to exercise with no structure, but that kind of started my passion. But it really came from sport, because I was always an outgoing guy and always really enjoyed really sport and the physical demands behind it. So that really kind of kickstarted my interest in health and fitness.
All right. Awesome, man. Similar to my own sort of journey playing sport from a young age, and then mine was a little bit different, sort of got pushed into it from mum, but mum's know best, and it's it sort of paid off. So
yeah, I know that. There's one right, my mother's right here, who's, hello, Mum.
Hello, Mrs. Woodford.
I'm on a podcast. Hello. There you go.
All right. So just give us a background, or a brief rundown rather, of sort of who you generally train and the basic methodology. What is it that you do that is effective, and the principles behind it, mate?
Yep. So we mainly train athletes. So at Woodford SSC, we've actually got 4 centres in Victoria. We've got one in Moorabbin, which is the first one I ever opened. We've got one in Casey, West, and Ballarat.
Yep.
We are looking to expand interstate. The first one, it's going to look like Queensland at the moment, but we'll see where it goes. We mainly train athletes. I think I identified a market for athlete development where no one really
Specialised.
Kind of how to market it in Australia, and I would say it's 80% athletes, 20% general people who just want to learn proper
lifting.
Scientific-based lifting methods. So, for us, but it's maybe 80-20 split. The athletes vary, so we pretty much go anywhere from elite, sub-elite, amateur to weekend warrior. The great thing about my job is I'm always challenged. I'm always developing someone from a different sport. I mean, you name it. We've had the mainstream sports, football, soccer, rugby, cricket, netball, gridiron, all those mainstream sports. Then we get like the real weird sports like bull riding, ultimate frisbee, wheelchair tennis, tennis in general. You name it. So we get all sports. So if you name a sport, we've physically prepared an athlete for it. So
cool.
The thing for Woodford SSC coaches, they're exposed to a number of different sports. And I'm not saying that you're going to get more sports specific with your programming, because athlete development is universal. And you talked about my methods. My methodology is all based around doing the basics at a real high level. I believe athlete development, you don't have to get too sport specific with it. The only true way sport specific conditioning is the skill itself. We develop a specific muscle group, motor pattern, and metabolic pathway. Everything we do in the gym is a form of GPP. So we're just developing the physical capacity, and then you integrate with the skill for better performance and minimize chance of injury. So I'm just a big believer in just doing the fundamental basics. So we look at the big 6, squatting, deadlifting, hinging, bench press, row, overhead press, and chin. And they're the foundations for developing upper and lower body strength and power. And then teaching basic motor skills like jumping, landing, acceleration, deceleration, change direction, and sprinting. And then making more efficient athlete. And that's pretty much how I look at athlete development. You want the athlete to be movement competent and slowly tick them off. You don't need to pick 1,000 exercises. In all honesty, just become really good at 6 to 8 exercises. And then master them. Stuff as well. Exactly.
So just touching on the GPP, and for all the listeners, that's general physical preparedness.
General physical preparedness.
So just explain to everyone out there why it's important that athletes, regardless of their sort of level, if it's a weekend warrior or elite, why do they need to do some specific GPP work, for example, in a gym setting? How will it carry over?
I just think that depending on, you got to realize most people, when they go to the gym, the first thing they kind of think of to get fit is your traditional cardio. Now, for everyone out there, I'm not against cardiovascular exercise. I'm not. All I'm saying is there's more effective ways of fat loss, of muscle
body
gain,
composition,
of becoming more healthy than just doing a long slow distance running, which most people think that they're cardio. I just think that if they actually go to the gym and understand the importance of strength. Now, strength is for everyone. When I say strength, don't think of some big power lifter or big bodybuilder. They're strength sports. They have to lift. That's their sport. I look at athlete-based strength training. Everyone can do it. You can start from 13 to 12 because body weight, your own body weight to the 13-year-old, that's a resistance. They're overcoming their own body weight. Exactly. And then all the way up to 90, 95. I will be lifting myself personally because I understand the benefits as long as I possibly can. And you will not get injured as long as you're overseen by appropriate qualified individual who understands the importance of strength on the nervous system development, but also for function and everyday life, also athlete performance. So I think everyone can benefit through the development of strength. You don't have to think of just the big bodybuilder or the big powerlifter or the big Olympic lifter. Everyone can benefit. So
one of the things that I really try to hammer home, and I know this is something you preach a little bit as well, is everything's easier when you're stronger. So your max, if you can increase your ceiling from, say, that's your max strength up to here, everything is going to be more sub-maximal.
Exactly. You just hit the nail on the head. If I improve my strength, my power, my speed, my agility, even my endurance improves because due to neurological efficiency. So everything gets easier. So the stronger you get, everything gets easier. Everyday life, sports performance, injury prevention, whatever you want to talk about, strength for me is very important also with motor control.
I agree completely, mate. And that's one of the things that it's just trying to get the general population or the large community to understand that strength training in general is going to have a massive carryover effect regardless of the sport. Even if it is a marathon runner, it's going to improve it. So, yeah, I'm glad we touched on that. With regards to training athletes, generally speaking, obviously you've trained athletes for a number of different sports. What are the key areas or the things that you see on a regular basis that people are lacking in, whether it be mobility, strength in a specific area or joint? Just maybe top three.
I was just about to say, I'll give you my top three. The first one would be mobility.
Yeah.
Man, the amount of people, I don't care if you're an athlete or general population, and for everyone listening to this, these can be applied to anyone. I don't care if you're a weekend warrior, amateur athlete, sub-elite, or elite.
Yep.
Most people who I see the variety, they lack mobility. And when we talk mobility, we're looking at the functionality of the joint. And I'm a big believer in, if anyone's ever heard of it, is Boyle's joint, Boyle and Cook's joint by joint theory. So every joint needs mobility and stability. Some joints need more mobility than stability, and some more stability than mobility. So we commonly see a massive issue with ankle and hip mobility and T-spine mobility. So one of the things that I look at straight away is, okay, well, let's improve mobility. The second thing, big thing that I see all the time with most of our athletes, and everyone knows I talk about this all the time, but it's I put a big focus on the posterior chain. When I say the posterior chain, it's the muscles you can't see. Most people go to the gym, they train the mirror muscles. They can see it's the pushing. Yeah. Exactly, the mirror muscles, the pushing muscles, so the bench press, overhead press, leg
biceps,
press, squat, lunges. Exactly.
Yeah.
I got a massive focus on the posterior chain, the glutes, the hamstrings, the lower trap rhomboids. These muscles stabilize the body, improve athlete performance, and minimize chance injury. So we're looking at the upper body. We see the lower trap rhomboids to really improve. Really improve scap control, also scapular humeral rhythm, but also we're looking for the glutes as well, because if we really activate the glutes as well, it's going to take the load off other areas like the lower back, the hamstring, the hip, and the knee. So that's probably the second thing I see, minimal activation through the lower body and the upper body of the posterior chain. And the third thing is most athletes are just not strong enough. And this is everybody in general. You should be lifting minimum. I don't care if an athlete or general population, because as what Jesse, you just said, which was 100% true, if you improve your strength, everything gets easier. Everything else is a sub-maximal effort. So I just think minimum should be 1.5. Everyone can do that. Squatting, deadlifting, bench pull. 1.5 times body weight. Everyone can aim for that. That's a really good standard to set. For my boys, I give minimum 1.5 before we even touch anything else. So they're the three biggest things that I see. Cool.
One of the things that I suppose a lot of the clients that I train with as well, they get sick of hearing, is the glutes as well. And I know you touch on it a lot, but it's something I touched on in a previous podcast with Tristan. He's an exercise physiologist. The glutes, they stabilize the hip, the low back, and that's the thing. A lot of people are sitting down too much and they're just not getting those muscles firing. So I'm glad you brought that point up as well. Just shifting gears now, mate. With regards to your sort of typical gym training, what are the when you see athletes or just general population, what's wrong with just the general machine-based exercise, 3 sets of 8 to 12 approach? What's wrong with that, and how can they improve it?
Look, I don't think in terms of machines, I understand everything has a place. There's no bad exercise, just bad programming. Machines were made for a certain purpose. Now, I understand some people, like rehab people coming back, and very elderly individuals who really can't control the weight yet before they go on the free weights. It has a purpose, but for the majority of people, I just think they should be aiming for their free weight movements, which really challenge the nervous system. The big thing about machine-based weights, it's a predetermined path of movement, and the machine controls it. So we're going to get less stabilizer activation. It's kind of like when people talk about, I do a 360-kilo leg press. I'm like, well, you squat 60 kilos. I mean, anyone can do a leg press. It's not functional when you're not ground-based. It pretty much puts you back in a stable position where you're taking stabilizer activation out. So I would always choose for my athletes, because I train athletes, but for anyone who's healthy, they should be choosing free weights. And the majority of people never train the rep continuum. You know, they go the 2 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10 of 1,000 exercises. I mean, 10 reps is fine. There's no reason why you can't choose 10 reps for accumulation or functional strength, but past a certain
maximal
point,
strength
and adapt. So you need to Exactly. And this is when you just talked about strength improving everything else. So if you're not improving your strength, you're not improving other facets, power, speed, whatever it is. Because I want everyone to think of as well, if you're stronger and you're hitting a lower rep range, let's say 2 to 6, and you're getting stronger through that range, always remember adaptation is low to movement specific. So what I mean by that is how you train affects how you adapt. Always remember, as you get stronger, think about when you drop the weight, you can do more volume, you get greater mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. You're going to grow to a greater degree.
Yep.
So for anyone who's looking for hypertrophy as well, and they might be listening to this, is develop strength because it will maximize your hypertrophy muscle size potential. And
yeah,
I think that's where people need to start hiring an appropriate qualified individual who understands this. So someone like yourself, someone who actually has a knowledge, like ask them about their methodology behind it. They should be able to get a good gauging. Don't just pick the big jack guy who's massive. Sorry about my language, mother, but who's jacked up. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to get in this with you, Jesse, but I do on my workshops, which I go around Australia, I talk a lot about this. Genetics, it does play a big role. I don't care what you think. Genetics play a huge role, and we can't control genetics. It is what it is. I'm not saying don't work hard, but look at the 100-meter final in the Olympics. Tell me how many white Caucasian males there are. I'll give you the hot tip: 0. So what's I saying? Genetics play a role.
Yeah. I totally agree.
That's why I carry on about it.
Yeah. I like it though, and that's the thing. A lot of people just they get stuck in the rut of 3 by 10. So it's good to actually, like you said, hit that spectrum, hit your low reps, and then obviously supplemental accessory work, hit your high reps. Okay, what are your thoughts on using BOSUs and fit balls? So we can touch a little bit on sort of rehab, stability, things like that. But do they have a place for in improving an athlete's performance, and if so, whereabouts in the program?
Listen, I just don't believe. I think fit balls are all right. I don't like BOSU balls. Like, you know, people, if you are doing your core work on a BOSU ball, and when I mean the core, the meat, that's going to be your main focus of the program. For me, it's always bilateral, double leg core lift, squatting and deadlifting. That's the core for high threshold, fast twitch motor unit recruitment. What I mean by that is you're pretty much maximizing strength and power within your athlete. Yep. If that is at the core of your program, you're doing some sort of like stability movement on a BOSU or fit ball, it's useless. Absolutely useless. You can't load it. The grade, and you're going to increase your chance of injury, and you're going to look like an idiot. So I'll keep this short and sweet for you. If that's the core, you're doing it wrong, find a new coach. If you're not, stick to what you've been doing with your core work, your fundamentals work. Simple as that, Jesse. I can't be any more clearer than that. Yeah,
I like it. So just for the listeners, the reason that it doesn't have a good carryover, you've got an unstable surface, you can't apply force down to the ground, and you lose that strength, or sort of, if that makes sense.
Well, you've got to think, sport is about Newton's third law.
It's on a flat surface.
Reaction, so... Exactly. So greater force you're going to apply to the ground, higher you're going to jump, quicker you're going to run, quicker you're going to run, and more effectively you're going to change directions. Everything I look at is relative strength and applying more force to the ground. And then integrating with your sport, which is specificity, which is so important.
I love it. All right. Christian, what is your go-to movement? You can give me a couple here if you want, but what is your go-to movement to cover all sort of aspects, mobility, strength, and conditioning? What's sort of your big 2 or 3?
I'd go a hinge pattern.
Yep.
I'd go a squat pattern, and I'd go a horizontal pull pattern. So any row variation, and bear with me, I'll explain it. The first is a hinge pattern, deadlift or RDL.
Yep.
The reason why I love a hinge pattern, it develops the posterior chain. I always talk about train the body as a full kinetic chain. You can either deadlift or RDL. A deadlift is straight leg hip extension. A deadlift's a bent leg hip extension. Yep. RDL is a straight leg hip extension. What I mean by that is, depending on the link tension relationship of the hamstring will dictate which is the prime mover or which is the synergist, the helper.
Yeah.
If the knee is bent more, the prime mover is the glutes, less emphasis on the hamstring. If the knee is more extended, more emphasis on the hamstring. You're still going to get heaps of glutes, but there's heaps of hamstring as well. So the first one will be a hinge pattern. The second one will be squat. The squat is the king of all lower body exercises. For mass, for strength, for fat loss, you need the squat in your programming. I love it. Bilateral movement. I think it's great. Develops the strength and power of the lower body. And it's my take is a full body lift, because if you're not tight through your upper body,
lats, abs,
you get a bit of forward flexion. Exactly. Yep. You lose your abs as well. You get a bit of valgus. So I think that's very important. The last one's a horizontal pull, because a lot of individuals are very kyphotic.
Rounded.
What I mean by those very internally rotated. Very rounded to the shoulders, very tight and short to their pec major, pec minor. What we want to do is pull them back. So a horizontal pull is critical to pulling them back to that neutral position, which is so important for performance and prevention.
Love it.
That's it.
Beautiful. Short and sweet. I like it. Makes a lot of sense to me. But obviously, like you said, it's trying to hit those movements that aren't the mirror muscles. So, a lot of carryover there.
Correct.
All right, for the average
Yep.
Joe or weekend warrior, what can they do to implement in their training to take it to the next level? So just say, for example, you've got Joe Blogs, goes into the gym 2 to 3 times a week, machine-based movements, 3 sets of 8 to 12. How can he improve what he's doing? Just give him a few tips.
All right, tip number 1, keep session to under 60 minutes, because what happens after 60 minutes is testosterone decreases, cortisol increases, performance session decreases. So 60 minutes. The second thing I want him to focus on is your big 6: squatting, deadlifting, bench press, row, overhead press, chin. Become savagely competent at those movements.
Savagely competent.
Number 3 would be savagely competent. Use that one. Become savagely competent at these basic primal patterns. And number 3 would be watch rest periods. Too many people don't watch their rest periods. I want everyone out there to understand the rest periods are critical to your physiological goal. They dictate physiological recovery, not neurological, because the nervous system takes 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times longer, depending who you talk to. So that's just seeing how much resynthesis we get of ATP-PC, which is your phosphocreatine system. That's the high energy system where we derive energy from for maximum effort, so strength for power for speed-based work. So what's your rest periods? Shorter rest periods, kind of hypertrophy, fat loss, strength, endurance. Longer rest periods, power or strength. That's just a general rule of thumb. Number 4 would be focus on conditioning of just your GPP, which we like to call resistance-based conditioning. Anything battle rope, sledge, prowlers, head ball slams, anything where you're going to get your heart rate up and create massive EPOC, which is oxygen debt, excess post-exercise
talk a lot about
consumption. So you're making so we're making a big metabolic disruption. So your body has to return you back to equilibrium, homeostasis. It has to work harder to and expend more calories to bring you back to that point. And the last point would be eat properly. You are what you eat. Follow what, go see a nutritionist, pay for some advice. Nutrition, especially with body composition, it's half the battle. So understand carbohydrate, fat, and protein. Carbohydrate is not the enemy. You need carbohydrates for function. You need it for the nervous system to function.
It's the body's preferred source of energy.
Exactly. But also you need it to upregulate a pathway, mTOR, responsible for protein synthesis. So I want you guys to think there's 3 factors to metabolism: base metabolic rate, thermogenic effect of food, and exercise. Base metabolic rate is linked up to how much lean body mass you have on you.
Correct.
So if you have more lean body mass, you've got a high metabolic rate, you're going to expend more calories at rest. And that'd be the big tips that I give, the big 5. Just the biggest thing is quality, not quantity. You'd rather go in there for an hour than get some good stuff, get some good work in.
That's something I did.
People think the more better.
I probably had that approach when I was younger. I didn't have a very good program. Looking back at it, that was designed from the gym guy, but I was in there for 90 plus minutes thinking I was getting more out of it and probably wasted a lot of time.
Sorry, Jesse, most people think if 3 sets is good, 4 is better. If 4 is good, 5 is better. No. Focus on quality and you'll see the results come.
Absolutely. All right. Just wrapping up, Christian, as a whole, do you think Australians are heading in the right direction to improve their overall health? So not regarding athletes, but just as a general population, do you think we're going in the right direction for health?
I've been doing this 10 years, so it's hard for me to say. I think we are. The good thing is I'm starting to see a big change in guys who are working just with, like yourself, you've got that really good niche at the moment. And I think that if guys like you keep raising the standard, like your knowledge is pretty good, you've been following me, you follow the big guys as well. I'm not saying, for everyone out there, I'm not saying I'm the big guy. What I'm saying is the guys on the stage, I know you follow them.
Cressy and all them.
I think if we get more guys like you who are actually decent personal trainers, you're doing a real good job. I'd rather, that's why I came on your show, is to really push what you're doing. I think you're doing a good job, man. Like the stuff you put out's good. So I would love to see, man, you got to realize I'm out of the game with that stuff, really. I mean, I'm majority. My majority of people we're really going to get are just athletes. And we get, as I said, 20% general pop. But our gym is more structured for athletes, and we know that. So I want more guys like you coming out using science-based methods. But I really enjoy it. As you know, Jesse, I'm passionate about developing the industry, raising the standard, developing more awareness. So the more I can help with my profile and help guys like you, I'm proud. So I think we are going in the right direction, Jesse. We're just got to stop buying into fucking bullshit.
Fads, trends.
The fundamentals. Get the fundamentals right. Exactly. And start pushing science-based, applied sports science instead of bullcrap and man, I'll just be a happy man when I'm 45 and watching guys like you dominate. I can look back and say, man, I'm proud of helping this industry out.
Yeah. And we won't touch on it, but it's just, the Insta famous people and things like that. It's trying to sort of get the general population to sort of know what's good and what's crap and what's just there for shits and giggles, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, they've just got a big following because they look good, they're shredded, they're jacked, they lift heavy weights. I'm telling you something. Listen, ask them a question. See what's inside here. It's not always about what they look like. And most of the time, they're just dumbasses who've got a good following. So for me, it's always been about the substance. I'm a big substance guy.
Yeah.
I'm educated. I'm passionate. I'm driven like you, Jesse. Ask them. For fuck's sake, ask them about their qualifications first. Yep. Ask them about their methodology. Ask them about their background. Like, don't just take them for what they look like. Yep. Most of the time, they've got no fucking idea. They know more about marketing than programming. It's not right. So for me, it's about fighting for what I believe in and what I believe is right. So I'll keep doing that, keep focusing on what we do best. And hopefully young kids like you keep coming in the woodwork and keep getting and keep raising the standard. So
that's the goal, brother. That's the goal.
I'm pretty happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Finishing up, bud. How can people transition from average to awesome? What's one thing they can incorporate into their life, whether it be weights training or anything at all? How can they go from average to awesome to better their life?
Do you know, this is the biggest thing that I ever did. Stop caring what people think about, of you. Like, I used to do that all the time. Then one day I woke up, and the reason why I started Woodford, because I stopped giving a fuck about what people thought about me, and I just keep going more stuff. This is if you be yourself, you're going to attract the right people. No, just be yourself, be authentic, passionate, love what you do, exactly, and just love what you do, and people will come towards you, and that's what I've noticed. I stopped caring what people thought, and for everyone who listens to this, I couldn't, if you want to be a part of this movement, I'm always, as you, Jesse, I met up with you, I was busy, but I still make time for you. I always make time for people. If you want to meet up with me, have a coffee, I'm always happy to talk shop. Obviously, I'm time poor. Talk to myself. I'm very time poor. But young kids like Jesse, anyone who wants it, I pick guys up from the station, show them up. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, man, I'm a good person. I want to help people out. So if you want to email me. Email me if you want to chat. Message me on Facebook. My email is christian@woodfordssc.com. Go to Woodford SSC Facebook page. Go to christianwoodford.com. Check what we push out. But just don't care what people think and follow your own path. And that's the path that will lead you to the greatest success in life, in my opinion.
Boom. I love it, man. And you've just wrapped up for me there where people can find you. So I'll put the links up in the show notes, your Facebook page, your website.
I've done this a few times, Jesse, I think.
All right. Christian, I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come on board, mate. So I'll put those links up. And once again, thanks for your time, buddy. I'm sure people will get a lot out of this information.
Just for anyone listening to this, if you're in Perth, go see this guy. If you're a general trainer, you want help with your health and fitness, you want help with your just general strength, see this guy knows what he's talking about. I give him the Woodford SSC tick of approval. Boom.
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated.
I've got. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jesse. See you, mate.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks, mate. Bye.
So there you have it, guys. Christian from Woodford Sports Science Consulting. He is a man on a mission, and he has a ton of information, as you've just heard. He talks very quickly, but there's a lot of gems in there. There's a lot of things that you can take out of it and apply into your day-to-day life. So the main things, and this is something that I incorporate with all of my athletes at Fulla Strength and Conditioning, is it's the big movements. You really want to get good at the basics, master them before you go off and do the big or the fancy other things. So squat, hinge, pull, push, as he said, and just keep it simple. Really work on the basics. Get the basics right. Get a good quality session in. So your training session doesn't have to be long in duration. Okay, so it's a matter, like Christian said, it's quality over quantity. If you can get a good 45 to 60-minute training session in, that's going to trump doing 2 hours or 90 minutes of substandard or average work. Okay, so I really appreciate everyone listening in to this podcast. Going on about 30 minutes now, so there's a lot of knowledge bombs in there. If you didn't catch something, go back, replay this episode. If you want clarification on anything that Christian or I covered, feel free to send me a PM or an email. Private message on Facebook works best. and I'll try and clarify it as best as I can. So Christian uses, he talks a lot in the scientific side of things, which is fantastic for me. Obviously, I'm trying to improve my knowledge base every day, but for sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming. So if there is anything you need clarification or explaining on, just let me know and I can explain it, or I can put you in touch with Christian. Okay? I really appreciate you jumping on board and listening to this episode, guys. I had a ball. I learnt a lot, as always. I've only chatted with Christian a handful of times, face-to-face or online. So thank you for listening. Until next time, stay awesome. Bye-bye.